What's up guys, Eric here from Techisode TV, and here it is. This is the speed test between the 512GB version of the iPhone XS Max against the 1TB version of the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now if you guys are familiar with my speed test and you know why I call them a real-life speed test, you can skip to the time code that's going to show up right up in this area, and that's going to take you right to the beginning of the speed test. If you haven't seen my speed test before, then this next part is for you. I call this a real-life speed test for a very specific reason. Most of the other speed tests you're going to see open things like 6 or 7 games, and then they transcode a bunch of different videos, and they open a bunch of different apps that you wouldn't typically open in a regular day-to-day basis. And those tests are great for seeing how these devices perform right at the limit, but it's not the best example of how it's going to handle on a day-to-day basis. So that's what this test is for. I have a bunch of different applications that you're going to use every single day. I have an internet browser, email app. I do have a couple games in there, calculator, note applications, things like that. The types of stuff that your average person opens every single day. One last thing before we get this test started, I have done as much as I possibly can to make this as fair of a test as possible. If you're curious, you can check out the full list of everything I did in the description. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So the way this test works is I'm going to open up one application at a time at the same time on both phones. And I'm going to kind of go down through the list, and at the top I'm going to keep a tally of which phone opens which app first. Now, if they open within about a quarter of a second of each other, I'm not going to award a point to either phone because a quarter of a second could be the difference in time between me touching one phone versus the other. Also, if during the video I say that the iPhone opened an application faster than the S10 Plus, and then all of a sudden you see a tally go to the top for the S10 Plus, that's because I saw it wrong. And then the same vice versa. If I said, the S10 Plus definitely opened an app faster, I thought it opened an app faster, but the tally goes to the iPhone XS Max, that's because I watched the video afterwards frame by frame and saw that in that case, the iPhone XS Max actually did end up loading everything first. Then once we finish opening all the applications, we're gonna go back through the other way and see how many are left open in RAM. And again, I'm gonna keep tallies at the top as well for that. So first things first, we need to make sure that there are no apps open in the background. So we'll go ahead and check that. Nothing here and nothing there. All right, so we are good to go. Let's go ahead and start with settings. Super close. I'm not really sure. I'd have to watch the replay for that one. Either way, they're so closely matched in that case that it doesn't really matter. This one, oh man, I don't know. You got to look at which one started the animation first, and I'm not sure. Again, so close it probably doesn't matter for day-to-day use. I got to watch the replay for that one. Mail. These are the native mail apps. Wow, those are like right on top of each other too. These are really, really closely matched. Although the S10 did load the next email first over the iPhone. Okay, calendars. These are the native calendars. Again, super close. I don't think these really matter at all for day-to-day use. Calculator, same deal. I mean, these are right on top of each other. You definitely wouldn't notice unless you have the two open right next to each other. First game, Mario Run. Okay, looks like it might be the, yep, okay, so first on the S10, and then the iPhone XS Max comes in after that. Native app stores. Okay, faster on the S10 Plus. Regal Cinemas application. Okay, a little bit faster on the S10 Plus. And Amazon. Wow, that was really close. I think just barely faster on the S10 Plus on this one. Okay, next is OneNote. Okay, that's definitely faster on the S10 Plus. We've got Redbox. Okay, I had a pop-up that asked me to turn on location services. So I'll have to see kind of what happened in the background on that one. I'm not too sure which one loaded first. But again, that one was actually pretty close between the two of them. Spotify. Oh, okay, that one was first on the iPhone. Okay, there we go. Harmony. All right, that was first on the Galaxy S10. Bible app. Wow, that was super fast on the iPhone. Wow, so definitely goes to the iPhone for that one. To-do list. Okay, that was faster on the S10. And we're going to go Excel. Okay, faster on the S10. StockTwits. Okay, that is faster on the S10 again. Philips Hue Smart Lighting. Faster on the S10. YouTube. Faster on the S10. Still going. Okay, and there you go on the iPhone. Twitter. Yeah, that was considerably faster on the S10. Okay, Zillow. Whoa, that was a lot faster on the S10. Okay, Pages Manager. It's for Facebook pages. Okay, looks like that was a little bit faster on the S10. Native clock application. Yeah, so fast it doesn't matter. Netflix. Okay, that looks like that was definitely faster on the iPhone here. Phone app. Oh man, that was super close too. Definitely gonna watch the replay for that one. But again, those open so fast that it really doesn't matter. Dropbox. That was faster on the S10. And then we've got the camera app. Don't turn on location services. I have no idea. That was super fast between both of them. And we've got Movies Anywhere. Definitely faster on the S10. Okay. Oops. Wrong one. All right. Auto Trader, down to the last two applications. Okay, that was faster on the S10 again. And the last game, Asphalt 9. See which one loads that first. All right, so that was definitely the S10, but not by too much. So let's go ahead and get back out of here. Oops. Now we're going to go back the other way. All right, so Auto Trader. Okay, both loaded. Kind of expect a lot of these first ones to be already loaded in RAM. So I'm just going to go ahead and zip through these here. Camera. Yep. Dropbox. Yep, still loaded. Phone app. Still loaded. Netflix. Still loaded. Clock. Yep, still loaded. Pages Manager. Still there. Zillow. Also still there on both of them. Twitter. So it looks like the iPhone seems to be opening them faster if they're already loaded in RAM by a little bit. Let's see, Philips Hue. Yeah, I think just a little bit faster on the iPhone if it's already loaded in RAM. Yeah, it's close, but it definitely does look like it's a little bit faster on the iPhone for things that are already loaded. Okay. That one is pretty closely matched, actually. So was that one. All right, Spotify. Redbox. Oh, we had that looked like a reload there on the iPhone, but it was such a super fast reload. Almost didn't matter, but that did look like a reload. OneNote. Amazon Shopping. Okay, so we definitely have a reload here on the S10 Plus. And it seems to be hanging on this one. Let me... Okay, so that apparently just didn't want to open the Amazon Shopping app. We'll keep going. We'll come back to one later, I guess. Regal, another reload on the S10. So far, I think the iPhone is ahead as far as reloads go. Okay, both of those are reloaded. And Mario Run. Okay, yep, that was already loaded there. It's got a reload on the Galaxy S10. And calculator. Okay, it looks like it maybe had to reload on the S10. I couldn't see on the iPhone, but these apps open so fast that it almost doesn't matter if they keep it in RAM anyway. But This one, I gotta watch the replay for that one. I can't tell if the other one had to reload. Email application. Yeah, that looks like those are both loaded. And internet. Okay, so yeah, definitely the iPhone is ahead as far as keeping things in RAM. And settings. Now I want to check something else here because the Galaxy S10 you'd think wouldn't have to reload anything because it has 12 gigs of RAM. So I want to go actually take a look at the RAM here. So we're going to go and scroll down into device care. And we're going to go into memory. And we're going to see what this says is currently being used by memory and see how much it says is free. Okay, so here it's telling me that I have 5.3 gigs left. So it has plenty of space to put the rest of these applications in RAM, but Samsung is choosing not to keep that many applications in RAM. It looks like Samsung has a limit that basically says after this many applications, dump the oldest one out of RAM no matter what. I think that's kind of what Samsung's doing here because they clearly have the RAM for it. So right now you're probably wondering then why do they have 12 gigs of RAM if they're not going to let you open 400 apps at the same time? And I think the biggest reason for this is going to be for people who use Adobe Premiere Rush. I'll actually be doing a video on this sometime later. So if you guys want to really see why 12 gigs of RAM could actually be beneficial on a device like this, definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can actually see when it's uploaded. But I just want to point out here that it's not that the 12 gigs filled up. It's that Samsung just says, hey, you can only have this many applications open at a time. And then after that, things close out. All right, so I've had a chance to look at the footage and see what the results are. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those up top right now. And there's a couple things I want to discuss really quick that I noticed when I was going through the footage. Number one, Redbox. When I opened that on both devices, it did actually finish loading first on the Galaxy S10 Plus. So when I had that location notification pop up, it did finish loading first in the background. I'll throw a screenshot up right now so you guys can see that everything is loaded behind that location request. And it wasn't until I dismissed that notification that it did another refresh. The second thing I noticed was that the phone app opened to two different parts of the app. So the iPhone opened up to the dialer and the S10 opened up to the recent contacts. So I tested it again, but made sure that the S10 would open actually to the dialer as well. And the iPhone 10 is still faster in that case too. Let me go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys. So as you can see, nothing loaded in RAM here and nothing loaded in RAM on the iPhone either. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone app on both of them. And you can see that it was just marginally faster on the iPhone XS Max. So let's go ahead and talk about the results now. So as you can see, the Galaxy S10 Plus opened 22 apps faster than the iPhone, and the iPhone opened only 5 apps faster than the S10 Plus. Now, a handful of those apps that opened faster on the S10 Plus weren't that much faster. You're kind of splitting hairs on some of them. But then there were a decent amount that were actually a ton faster, particularly like Twitter and Zillow, for example. Those opened so much faster on the Galaxy S10. And that's consistent with my day-to-day use when I was using the iPhone XS Max as my daily driver. I did notice that when apps had to reload, it was noticeably slower when compared to like the Galaxy Note 9, for example. Like I could tell without holding the two devices next to each other that the iPhone XS Max takes a considerable amount more time to load applications than the Galaxy Note 9 did, and obviously in this case, the Galaxy S10 as well. So those numbers do ring true in real life, and it is something you're actually going to notice. If you had like an iPhone XS Max and then you moved to the S10 Plus, you're going to notice that speed difference when it comes to opening apps. All right, so let's take a look at the reloads. So as you can see, the Galaxy S10 Plus had to reload 6 applications, while the iPhone only had to reload 1 application. And I already kind of discussed what I think is happening on the Galaxy S10 Plus and why it's not holding more applications open in RAM, especially because it has like an extra 5.5 gigs that's being unused. But there's something else that's a bit more important that I want to point out here. If you guys have seen my previous speed test with this 512 gig version of the iPhone XS Max, you'd know that the iPhone XS Max typically has all of these applications open in RAM, maybe only reloads 1 or 2, so that shouldn't have been surprising to you guys. But what was surprising to me, and I talked about this in the video about why I switched from my iPhone XS Max back to my Note 9, and that was because apps were reloading all the time on this. Once you turn the screen off, and this screen is off, I don't know what the period of time is, I don't know if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what it is, but I noticed that in actual practical day-to-day use, the iPhone XS was just constantly dumping apps out of RAM. And so when I'd use an app and then I'd use like maybe 1 or 2 other apps and I'd go back. So it's only like the 3rd app back in the queue and I'd be coming back to it like 30, 40 minutes later and it would have to reload. and with the Note 9, that didn't happen. So I think what happens here is, with Samsung, with this speed test, what you see is what you get. So the apps that stayed loaded in RAM are going to stay loaded in RAM like pretty much indefinitely. Like those are going to be there. A day later, you open it up and it's still going to be loaded into RAM. Whereas on the iPhone, because I still had the screen on, it just keeps everything open because the screen's currently on. But I think for battery saving purposes, Apple decides to just close out a bunch of applications as soon as you turn the screen off for some period of time after you turn the screen off. So while the iPhone is technically able to keep more applications open in RAM for this type of setting, you guys should know that for practical day-to-day use, it's not going to be quite that many, and you're probably going to see more reloads on the iPhone than the S10 Plus. At least that was the case with the Note 9. So let me know what you guys thought about this test down in the comments below. Were you surprised by the results? And more specifically, if you have an iPhone XS Max, do you notice the poor RAM management as well? Either way, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, guys, like the video if you liked it, share it if you loved it, and subscribe to see my upcoming Galaxy S10 Plus coverage. And don't forget to smack that notification bell so you can be the first to know when a new video drops. That's it for this Techisode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.